Okay, so I'm not usually someone who buys games at launch, especially with the state of the industry at the moment, but I do still pay attention to new releases. The games in this video are what's caught my eye for 2024.
Every last one of them.
Number 10. Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition. Look, I know this game has been out for a while already. In fact, there's even been an expansion called Burning Shores, which I believe is included in the Complete Edition. But personally, I have yet to play this one, and with a PC port announced for release in 2024, it's something I'm super keen to check out. I did play through the first game and I really enjoyed it. I mean, bringing the whole concept of robot dinosaurs to life in a game takes some serious skill and imagination. This is legitimately like something a child would dream up, and it's amazing enough just watching the trailers. The story, sound design, art style and visuals of the first game really impressed me, and it all looks to be on another level with this sequel. The combat and world looks like it'll be as good as the first game, and the characters just look super interesting, and I can't wait to get stuck into this one. I mean, I'd say the first game definitely had its flaws, but for the most part, it was a thoroughly enjoyable experience, and I just really look forward to checking out this sequel.
It's time to finish this.
Number 9. The Wolf Among Us 2.
Something like that.
So I played the first Wolf Among Us game in Feb 2023, and even though it wasn't my first playthrough, this game was pretty incredible. Originally slated for a 2023 release, this long overdue sequel had to be pushed back to 2024 to avoid crunch. As you may have heard, an estimated 9,000 people were laid off in 2023 in the games industry. Some of those casualties were from Telltale Games, so it's been quite a ride for this company, going through closure and reopening time and again, and things are still looking shaky. I do really hope they pull through though, because I feel there is definitely an audience for this type of game. The storytelling might not be very mainstream in style, but it's definitely a unique and usually quite a hard-hitting experience. These games also generally have a very mature tone, though may not appear so based off their cel-shaded art style. Nevertheless, I am keen to see where the story goes and how things play out, especially since the first game kinda leaves you with some unanswered questions. Number 8. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. I really enjoyed the first game, and with the sequel coming out soon, I'm super interested to see what they can do with the sequel. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'm not 100% sure how the changes to the combat, assuming there are some, will play out, but I'm definitely interested. Having been acquired by Microsoft Studios in 2018, not long after the first game's initial release, Ninja Theory now has some AAA money backing it, meaning the potential quality of this game has increased substantially. Whether that results in a much better game though, remains to be seen, but I do have some high hopes for this one. Like, the thing is, I feel like Ninja Theory has a very unique way of creating games, and if they are left to their own created devices, I think this game will be very good. I mean, the original game was made by a team of 20 people, costing only 10 million, which by most standards is considered a shoestring budget. Hopefully this acquisition is one of the rare cases where the result is an amazing sequel and the studio can cement itself as a true titan of the industry. Number 7. Avowed. I'm honestly not sure how this game will play out. When I first saw the trailer, I wasn't sure if I should be that impressed because it looked like a Fallout or Outer Wilds type of game. I have definitely taken note of Obsidian Entertainment as a developer, but I've only really played a handful of their games, though each one has been pretty damn good. It has also been quiet since this game was originally announced, so I don't actually know if this will even launch in 2024. The quality definitely looks to be present, but I'm assuming this will be quite a large game in the same vein as those open world RPGs, but I'm not sure I have the time for. Having said that though, it has been quite a while since I've committed myself to a really long and deep RPG, so this could be one to draw me in. Being set in the world of Pillars of Eternity and looking through Obsidian's track record means I think that the depth and choices will be a centerpiece of this game, which is pretty exciting. Either way, I'll be paying close attention to how this game shapes up. Number 6. Black Myth Wukong. Okay, so I need to say I'm not too sure about this one honestly. Now the trailers look pretty insane, there's no doubt about that. but this game by all accounts looks to be a Souls-like, and I absolutely suck at games, so this will probably end up being skipped for me. Like, I am definitely still interested, especially since the core story is based around the 16th century Chinese novel called Journey to the West. I mean, just looking at the trailers, it feels like there is some deep exploration of the lore. The combat gives me hesitation, but the world building, the characters, and the story all look super interesting. I'm not sure about the voice acting and translation from what I've seen, but I do genuinely hope this game does well and we see some expansions on it, since I feel like there is a heck of a lot there. This could also be a gateway to really expand upon some lesser known Chinese stories and folklore. I mean, even my brother, who doesn't really game anymore, saw this and was pretty impressed and showed some interest. In any case, I'm definitely still keeping an eye on it. Fingers crossed it does release this year and it turns out to be a great experience. Number 5. Banishes, Ghosts of New Eden.
I've never seen a ghost myself.
I'm not sure what it is about this game, but the more I see it, the more interested I become. I'm not really a horror fan or anything, but the story actually looks really interesting, seeing as the main protagonists, I think, are a pair of ghost hunters and things go awry on their latest hunt. Like, from what I've seen, it looks like you make use of both characters, each with unique abilities, and I'm guessing you switch between the two throughout the game. It makes me wonder if they will do any sort of co-op like It Takes Two. Maybe it ends up being a quest to save the girl from spending eternity as a ghost. I also read that there was a focus on choice influencing the story, which could make for a very interesting experience. I think the biggest thing that hooks me to this game though isn't really the gameplay but the story. Something about the trailer makes me feel like this is a heavily focused story game with proper heart-rending emotional moments, and I'm super down for it.
I am ready to get hurt again.
Plus, I'm a sucker for a love story. Speaking of which, the planned release date is the day before Valentine's Day, so if all goes to plan, I guess we'll see how this game plays out sooner rather than later. Number 4. No Rest for the Wicked. The whole vibe of this game looks really cool. The instant that Moon Studios logo popped up, I got so pumped. With how amazing Ori ended up being for me after my recent playthrough, I am 100% in for whatever these devs create with this new IP. I think art style has always been one of the key strengths for these guys, and the hand-drawn or painted look is so gorgeous and works so well for this story setting. The music and story vibe also looks really interesting. Like, personally, I love the whole medieval style backdrop, and as much as it's probably an overused setting at this point, it just sort of fits everything in my opinion. From the trailer, it looks like the king has died, and with that probably a mad fight for power. The creature and enemy designs also look super interesting and unique with a creepy, corrupted or diseased look. The perspective looks to be much more isometric or top-down, but the combat still appears to be very fast-paced action. I think if the devs can just match the gameplay to the same level of quality in the Ori games, they're onto a winner here. Man, I'm just so keen for this game, and I really think the team at Moon Studios will be able to pull it off. I'm just super excited for this one. Number 3. South Park Snow Day.
This time. Now you can play alone or with 3 of your closest friends.
I recently played through South Park The Stick of Truth, the first game in the series I think, and it was pretty incredible. This time though, with Snow Day, the whole game looks to be in full 3D instead of the previous 2.5D, which comes with its own challenges, but so far it looks pretty interesting. I can definitely see this game performing badly as well, considering the story and humour can start to feel stale after a while, and the change to 3D may not land too well, but for the most part, I'm looking forward to it. The thing is, I love the first game, but that was made by Obsidian Entertainment. The second game, which I've yet to play, was made by Ubisoft San Francisco, but was still rated pretty highly. South Park Snow Day is made by a developer called Question, which I've honestly never heard of, and the only 2 games I could find look to be a bit different, which makes me a bit nervous. Look, either way, I'm not going to judge the game until it releases, or at least I hear a bit more about it. Hopefully it does well though, since I really enjoyed The Stick of Truth. Number 2. Star Wars Outlaws.
I've been held back my whole life.
I wouldn't consider myself a die-hard Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy a lot of the stuff that comes out. Perhaps not the more recent movie trilogy, but overall it's a franchise I really do enjoy. Rogue One and Andor, for example, were awesome, and I really enjoyed both Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Outlaws though, not being focused on the typical Jedi story, is actually kind of refreshing and feels like there's a lot of potential to be an interesting game. This title is also apparently set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and the main character Faves reminds me of Han Solo. Being a fully single-player story-focused game, I'm pretty excited for this one. It is, however, open world though, and I know Ubisoft hasn't got the best track record, but I'm still pretty keen to check this one out. There's no doubt going to be stealth mechanics as we saw in the trailers, but there's also apparently going to be vehicular and space combat combined with branching dialogue options, which to me sounds pretty interesting. The only downside for me is that it's not releasing on Steam, which means it's probably only going to be on Ubisoft Connect, at least for the first year. I'm still keen to check it out, eventually. And besides, who could say no to this face? Number 1. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Okay, at this point I feel like I'm more and more sold on this game each time I see it, and I may actually pick it up depending on how things go. Like, the graphics obviously look stunning, and the action looks like it'd be pretty awesome too. But for me, I'm probably most keen on seeing where the story takes Titus, and because I'm not that familiar with the lore, I hope it expands a lot more on it. In one of the trailers they actually mentioned Titus's reinstatement, which means the Inquisition must have released him and found him innocent of any heresy, I think? I'm not sure. Either way, I'm pretty damn keen for this one. I feel like this type of game harkens back to the old school over-the-top action games like Darksiders, and man am I here for it. Also, during the Game Awards they announced the official release date, the 9th of September 2024. Which I think means the original release date was actually pushed back nearly a full year, which is kind of concerning, but hey, it'll be better than releasing an unoptimized broken game.
Late is just for a little while, suck is forever, right?
Like seriously, I hope the delay means the game is much better at launch, and fingers crossed it's properly optimized for PC, like please. I did also watch SkillUp's hands-on impressions and it definitely gave me hope. Look, I really enjoyed the first game, and this sequel, along with the announcement of Cavill being involved with the Amazon shows or movies, means the time of the Imperium is nigh. Okay, so that's all 10 games I'm looking forward to in 2024. Now with that said, there are a few titles I'm interested in that probably don't necessarily fit into the above list, so here are some of those games. The first game is The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Look, I get that the second game was very divisive, but I really loved part 1. It took me out of the game itself and made me think differently about the entire story at the end. Unfortunately, I've yet to play part 2 because I'm really attached to my PC. I know there was a lot of discourse around part 1 being remastered, twice, and now with part 2 going through the same treatment, I could definitely understand why it feels like a cash grab. And granted, no, this game probably didn't need a remaster, but with a $10 upgrade path, honestly, it feels to me like Naughty Dog listened, and it's a much fairer point of entry, at least for console owners. Either way, as a primarily PC gamer, and looking at Naughty Dog's history with part 1, it feels like this remaster will precede a PC port, which means I might actually get to play it now. When it gets ported though has still yet to be announced, but fingers crossed it's in 2024. And as much negativity as there has been around this game, I still need to see what it's all about. I just hope the eventual PC port is better optimized than the first game. Now my next game is Hades 2. Okay, I need to preface that I haven't played Hades yet.
How hard could it be?
I know, I'm really behind the ball on this one. I don't even have an excuse for why I haven't played it. Both the first game and the trailers of the second look very interesting. The art style is something I really friggin' love. It's just so well drawn and stylized, all the while being really well animated. The action and combat also looks really cool with how fast paced and varied it is. And the whole concept of being a child of Hades sounds awesome. Like anytime there's a story that follows a pantheon of gods and their exploits or adventures, there's almost always at least some really cool ideas. I believe this time around, Hades 2 is based on the daughter of Hades. And in classic Greek mythological fashion, you're on a quest to defeat Kronos, who is essentially your grandfather. Obviously, when the time comes, I'll play through the first game and make my way to this one because it just looks so awesome.
Death to Kronos.
Anyway, that is my list of games that I'm looking forward to in 2024. Do you agree with any of the games on this list? Leave a comment and tell me what you're most excited for. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll catch you in the next one. If you've managed to sit through this whole video, thank you so much for watching. I'm still looking to upload a brand new video once a fortnight, but be sure to let me know what else you'd like to see in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully, I'll catch you in the next one.